So the snow has melted. Spring is right around the corner. Now what? Let's see. Order plants. Order a string. Wait, soil test. Wait, clean the hop yard. Then cut the bullshit. What? Take it easy, folks. Max Raphael here from Hops World, and I'm here to help you out. Today's tip number 37 is our 15-point spring hop yard checklist. We're gonna go point by point from the winter thaw all the way up till training your plants on this string. Every step along the way, let's do it. Hey friends, I'm glad you could be with me today to go over our 15-point spring hops yard checklist. And without further ado, let's get right into it. And first on our spring checklist, folks, is soil test. This is the most important thing you can do for the health of your hops. It's really important, folks, to take soil and send it to a lab and get it tested. We have a tip coming up on how to take soil samples so you can send them to a lab near you. Get a hold of the extension of your state university, and they usually do soil testing, and if they don't, they will know where you can send your soil to do testing. Your hops will love you for it. Number 2 on our list is ordering plants or rhizomes. We need to do this real early in the year so we make sure we get what variety we need, especially if we need a lot. Now you can go right on Google and do a search for hops plants for sale and see what you find. And what you're going to find is about 100 different people selling hops plants, 100 different varieties. The same thing goes if you're trying to find rhizomes. You put in rhizomes for sale, you're going to find the same thing. At least 100 different places to sell rhizomes. So what do? I suggest you go on Facebook and you put in a search, hop growers. There's at least 50 different groups in every state and every country, and even international hop growers groups. Ask on there for growers reputable in your area. When you get hops plants, they typically look like this. They usually are held over 1 year, so they really sprout the second year. They come in about a 4-inch root ball, and they should be very well rooted and ready to plant in the ground. We sell them in Brazil similar in little square pots, and this is what they look like. Hops plants sell in the U.S. from big farms, typically from $9 to $15 each in a small quantity. Obviously, if you buy a large quantity, you get a discount. If you are planning on planting thousands of new plants, the best option would be to order plants made from in vitro fertilization. This really assures clean plant stock without virus or disease. There are only a few labs in the United States that can do this, and probably a few in Europe. But if someone gets a hold of me, a private message, I can let them know where they are. These plants typically come a little bit smaller than your typical small plant, so we have to grow them up a little before planting them out in the field. But this is really a great option if you want clean plants to start with. And the other option are hops rhizomes, which are parts of roots which will sprout and grow new plants. A lot of huge farms propagate all of their plants with hops rhizomes. They are considerably cheaper, anywhere from $4 or $5 for one, 3 for $10, and you can get a bundle of 50 for $100. If you buy thousands, you can definitely get a good deal at some of the bigger farms in the country. They come as little roots. and you plant them in the ground just as you see them, and they sprout. So number 3 on the list is to order the fertilizers, fungicides, herbicides, and pesticides that you're going to need throughout the year. It may be the time to hire a professional agronomist or someone that really knows their stuff on this. If not, study all the pest management guides, all the integrated guides you can find from all the universities. Contact the extension of your state university. Ask the vendors that sell you the products, and even email the manufacturers of the products if you have questions. You should be having nightmares about the labels of some of these products, folks, in your studies to figure out what you're going to need before you order. But order early so you make sure you have the products on hand before the plants start to sprout. So what we typically do next, and number 4 on our list, is get our hands dirty. It's time to do a general cleaning of the Hopyard. We clean all the debris, all the plant material, any sprouts that are coming up, cut all the old vines from last year right down to the ground, all the old strings that aren't usable anymore. This is our small little male Hopyard, but in our bigger yard, it's more typical, and we leave the ground perfectly clean for the plants to sprout. So number 5 is to check and adjust our trellis. Our trellis sags every year from the weight of the hops plant and from the cold and the heat. It contracts and expands. And now and then people run over our anchors with the tractor. So we have to get up in the air and tighten up all of the cables, check for any broken turnbuckles, make sure we order any parts just in case we need them. So number 6 on our list is to start and test our irrigation system. We start with our tank, if we have one, and the well, and our pump. And we work our way from there all the way down to the Hopyard. We walk every line, every main line, every individual line in every hops row. When we first start this system up, we turn on each individual zone and we open up the end of the hoses in each row to clear any debris out of the lines. Then we plug the lines back up and we walk every row and make sure there's no leaking drippers that are just running, no extraneous leaks, and make sure that each dripper is actually dripping water. If we need to fix, we need to make a list so we can order any products we need to make mends or adjustments to make sure our irrigation system is up and running prior to the plants sprouting from the ground. So number 7 on our list is to order string, any trellis or irrigation supplies that we may need. String typically comes in a big roll, and people mostly use a core string made out of cocoa, but it also comes in bundles of 100, and they're pre-cut in about 20-foot lengths, which makes it real convenient. But if you have thousands of hops plants, I'd suggest you order straight from the country of Sri Lanka, where they make most of the cocoa core in the world, and you get a whole full container full imported. And of course, don't forget your W clips if you need to order them. Make sure you have these early in the year so you're ready when it's time to string your plants. And of course, any trellis or irrigation supplies that you might need to make any repairs, whether it be a little tightener or an anchor that somebody ran over, or in your irrigation, if you need some pieces of hose where there's a leak, or maybe a valve, or even a T or an elbow, make sure you order this stuff early in the year as soon as possible so you can have it ready when you need it. And the next tip, number 8 on our checklist, is the harvest of rhizomes. Here's a quick little video we made showing how we harvest rhizomes. Start at the outer edge of the plant and dig towards the middle. Gently removing dirt. As you can see, we're shaking the dirt loose, which reveals the rhizomes. The first reason we remove rhizomes is to propagate new plants. The second and most important reason is so that the energy of the plant will grow upward and not outward. On big farms, they cut the rhizomes mechanically with a tractor running down the rows. And thanks to my friend Joris Canby for the video. And here at Hops World, after our plants are 3 or 4 years old, we take a pointy shovel and just cut straight around the crown of the plant and cut off all the rhizomes. We don't worry about hurting the plant at all because the plant only has to be pretty 1 day a year, harvest day. And number 9 on our checklist is crowning, which is also optional. In this little video from University of Vermont, it shows a little gas-powered crowner. This little sketch that I made shows a hops plant. The object is to cut the crown of the plant 2 to 3 inches below the surface of the soil to eliminate any pathogens that may have overwintered in the crown of the plant. So here is how they do it on a big farm. It's called carping your hops, where they cut the top right off the hops plant. Thanks again to my friend Joris, who's a lifetime hops farmer in Belgium, Europe. So number 10 on our spring checklist is mulch or hilling up. On a small scale like we have in our Hopyard here in the United States, we mulch manually. Some farms definitely have tractors with attachments that throw mulch. We incorporate the mulch with a rake. Big farms typically put mulch in their rows and they end up incorporating it over top of the crown of the plant by hilling up, which is pushing cultivating discs down the rows as in this video made by my friend Joris Canby. So next on our Hopyard checklist, number 11, planting plants or rhizomes. First we go and we put little flags exactly where we're going to plant every little plant. We use our drip irrigation system as a guide and make sure we put the plants in between the emitters because you never want water to fall exactly on your plant. And then we go back and we lay the plants on the ground row by row right where we're going to plant them. We definitely don't leave the plants laying out too long in the sun so they dry out. We try to do this early in the morning on an overcast day and hopefully on a day where it might rain in the afternoon and the evening. You definitely don't want to do this on the hottest summer day in the summer. But if your plants are as strong as ours are that we sell in Brazil, they shouldn't have any problem if it dries out a little. This plant here definitely won't die if we have a day or two of dryness. And then we go about, we make a little hole, we put the plant in the ground, and we pat the dirt around it. There's nothing better than seeing hundreds or thousands of brand new little hops babies, little soldiers all in a row, ready to grow 18 to 20 feet within the next 3 or 4 months. This plant is simply amazing, folks. I love this time of year. So, number 12 on our checklist, the application of nutrients, fungicides, pesticides, and herbicides. Now, this is definitely optional at this point in the spring, and anywhere from now until after training, you may want to start applying any or all of these types of products. The pictures here are just for reference, but there are hop owners that apply an early, slow-release fertilizer. They may want to apply a drench-type fungicide or pesticide, a systemic pesticide, or even pre-emergent herbicide at this point in the spring in your hop yard. Next on our hop yard spring checklist, number 13, stringing the hop yard. Although it's fun at first, it quickly gets tedious hanging all these strings. But damn, it sure is rewarding watching the plants climb the little strings like little soldiers all in perfect little rows. I really love looking at the hop yard after the strings are hung and watching the plants grow. So number 14 on our Hopyard checklist is trimming of bull shoots. The bull shoots are the first shoots that come out of the ground that are very vigorous and typically have a wider node spacing between the leaves, and this leads to lesser production of cones at the end of the year. There is controversy whether you should cut your bull shoots or not. There's a great study being done right now at University of Florida just about this. We at Hops World do cut our bull shoots to set back the timing of when our plants reach the top wire of our trellis on June 21st. If not, the plants will get out of control at the top wire and cause a real mess, and we don't want that. Well, last on our spring Hopyard checklist, number 15 is training our hops plants. I love this time of year because I know when my plants are done being trained, I'm going to have about 5 minutes to breathe before I have to start working again. But what better way to see how we train our hops plants is watching Joris pick 2 or 3 bines and wrap them in a clockwise direction around each string as they grow up. Now, do you know what time it is? It's beer 30. So, there you have it, my friends. Every step along the way, in the early spring until you're training your hops plants. But realize, folks, that there are many correct ways to grow hops. And if you asked 10 different hops growers with experience, they're all going to tell you a different way of doing it. This is a general guide and more a checklist to not forget anything. So make sure you record all the dates of everything that you do. The dates that your plants sprout, the dates if you apply any fertilizers, any chemicals. That way you can look back year after year to see what you did in the past and how your plants performed to get a better idea in the future. So I want to thank my friend Joris for allowing me to use some of his videos. He's a lifetime hops grower, and if anybody knows how to do it, he's the one. And I want to thank you folks for being with me today, and we are going to post tips on every one of these 15 points here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We already have 3 or 4 made, and they're going to be going up on our channel here in the next week. Please subscribe, support us. Hops World, put a thumbs up, share with your friends if you like. I thank you for being with us. We really had fun making this video, and we're going to have lots of fun here in this spring. The summertime is around the corner. Let's watch the hops plants grow. Cheers to life.